Hello, everybody, and welcome to the United Stand. We're live with Sunday Night Live, and we're going to be talking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer clear out with a very strict premise here. We've done the lows, we've done the fringe players. We're talking about the gap between Manchester United and winning a title, and that's huge, and it's been huge for 6 years. So it's going to be a difficult show tonight because we can't just say the first 11 are good enough to be title winners because they're not. Otherwise, we would be, or maybe it's the manager. I don't know. We're talking some topical stuff as well, but as you can see, I'm joined by Adam and Ricky tonight for the Sunday show. How you doing, Adam? Welcome back.
Yeah, good to be back, mate. I'm okay. Surviving. Same old shit, different day. Just normal life at the moment.
Groundhog Day. And Ricky, how are you doing, pal?
Not bad at all, mate. Not bad. I've been out for a long walk today, a bit longer than normal.
You must be out. Actually, the live comments are on about it already. You must be over the moon because you could almost imagine it's Nemanja Matic on a show with me and you. We've got a Matic sandwich. Go on.
I put the name up there for Ricky as well.
Yeah, there you go. If you'd have had a United top on, I don't think we would have stopped him smiling all night. But get a treadmill like Nemanja does. Yeah. Well, we will talk about Solskjaer's clear out in a minute, but let's just touch on a little bit of topical stuff. I was reading something just before we came live from the Times. It was actually on at United Report Twitter account, and they were saying that the Premier League have a strategy to complete this season between June the 8th and June the 27th, and then start the new season on August the 22nd, which is like a 3-week gap. The Dutch league have obviously, I know the Belgian league had done it, but the Dutch league have suspended their league, voided their league, actually. They've voided it. And their head of FA, talking about the Premier League or any other league returning, said very slim. I think they're going to have to make the same decisions we've made. Obviously, it's a changeable week-to-week thing, but we've not seen you for a couple of weeks, Adam. What's your thoughts at the moment? Obviously, season ticket holder yourself, like Ricky. Are you expecting to? I don't think you're expecting to be at a game, but you're expecting to see United back in June, as is the plan. Bundesliga maybe back in May.
Yeah, I mean, a few season ticket holders. I don't know if Ricky's been contacted by the club. I'm pretty certain a lot of people have been contacted now. Obviously. Pretty much all clubs have suspended renewals for next season because no one's got any idea when it's going to start again. But I don't expect to be going to Old Trafford for a while still. If they were going to try and finish the league, the best hope they would have of that is going to be behind closed doors anyway. So for me, I think the way the club is talking right now, it's all geared towards next season. So I think for me, personally, I don't see any change from what I said a couple of weeks ago. I don't see how they fit, especially in that timescale that you just said then. I don't see how they fit it in at all with the amount of games we've got to go. Because it's like you said, do we scrap the FA Cup? What's happening with UEFA? There was no clarity in what they said the other day. They just left it to the devices of every league to decide on how it's all broken down. They've said, we hope that the leagues can get together and obviously find a way of finishing their own seasons. Like you said, then the Dutch league have just gone, nope, that's it, we're finished. And a lot of people, probably a few hardened United fans, are thinking, hopefully that's what we do with this one, so Liverpool don't get the league. But I think we all just want to see football again, don't we? But for me, I said it the other day. I mean, there's a chance that if you want to be completely safe, that next season doesn't happen, and we try and finish this season. Next season's, there's so many different ways to look at it. But in terms of fans, season ticket holders, going to a game, it's months away, absolutely months away that I can see.
Yeah, definitely. Ricky, I know we speak about this every week. I saw someone in the live comments saying that the Italian Prime Minister has said they want to get people training back at the start of May. That to me would be encouraging because I think the German situation with the Bundesliga, they've done it very different to us with the testing and they've had less deaths, etc. But I don't like to use the word etc. when we're talking about lockdown. But what about the situation with us? Are you feeling more confident that we will get it, or do you still think that it's a big no?
I think the way they're talking, I think there's a chance that they might start playing again. But if they do start playing again, I think it will be behind closed doors. I've got no doubt about that whatsoever. If they're going to finish this season. I'm just hoping that you said there's a date of hopefully starting next season on August the 22nd or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that that's far enough off that they've got it that much under control that it can be with fans. by then. I'm not even thinking that there might be fans watching the games in June. If they do restart again in June, it'd be behind closed doors, but at least it'd be something to watch on the TV, won't it, as well?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It'd raise a lot of people's spirits, especially Liverpool fans.
Well, yeah, we're not too bothered about raising Liverpool fan spirits, but we were just talking before we came on air that this Groundhog Day feeling, I think if we did have football, it would be something that would be positive at a time where people are feeling struggling, and I think you've got to open up and be honest about that. That's certainly the case. Look, let's be a bit more optimistic and certainly a little bit beyond June and even next season start dates. I think we're probably talking maybe over the next couple of years, to be honest. Manchester United, as a Premier League winning side, I mean, the idea of this show came from the morning show today, where we were talking a bit about transfers, and I can't remember what player we were talking about. I think we were talking about Fred, actually. We're talking about Fred, and somebody was saying that they would rather we didn't sign Thomas Partey and kept Fred, which each of the lads can have their opinion on. And I said, look, I'm a massive fan of Fred, but he's the most dribbled past player in the Premier League, apparently, in midfield, or he's not far off that. We know what Troy Deeney said when he was speaking to Flex a few weeks ago, that was the player they wanted to target for his first touch. So immediately, it's not about Fred, but it immediately got me thinking, we're a team battling for fourth, and that's what we've been for 6 years, really, apart from Mourinho's best ever season, which wasn't his best ever season when he came second. And it made me think, well, Fred's a very good example of this, and we'll go through the United sort of best 13 players, because I think there is a bit of changing in it. And rather than talking about the Delos and everyone like that, who we know we'd probably want to sell in the long term or maybe keep as a bench player, let's go through the United best 11 and see whether we think they are long-term players to build to win a title with, because I don't see how all of them can be. Otherwise, why are we not winning titles? So let's start off with Fred then, Adam. I mean, say 2 or 3 years from now, Solskjaer's there as Manchester United manager. We've won the Premier League title. Is Fred a player that you think has got the quality to be in a Manchester United side playing in a first team for a Premier League, or is he a bench player, or is he just not that, do you think? I mean, I know it's a big step forward to say it, but, you know.
Yeah, in terms of Fred, he's one of them who's only just started playing better. I wouldn't say fantastic. He's got better this season. He's one of our most improved players, but let's not forget where he started. He was pretty poor. I was scratching my head as to what he actually did in the team, his main position, where he's best played. And for me, I couldn't figure it out. He has grown into the team a lot towards the end of the season. In terms of a championship or a title-winning team, would he be in my midfield? By the time we get to a championship-winning team, I don't know. I would see Fred probably as a squad player rather than someone who's I am going to nail down as a player I want in my team who's going to win me a league. It's like Ricky said before, he could be part of a winning team, but if you had to pick a player, you know, he's going to stand out and win you that league title, there's probably, it's hard to say right now, because you could bring someone else in who is better than Fred straight away. And that's the answer to the question, I think. There is better players out there we could get than Fred, but Fred is improving. So for me, I think Fred would be in the squad. In terms of first team, if we're a title challenging team, would Fred be in it? I would probably say no right now. I think
that's fair as well. And I think people in the live comments are probably joining a little bit late and thinking we're talking about playing Spurs in a couple of months. We're talking here about a couple of years. We're talking about a side that can challenge Liverpool and City. We're talking about a Premier League side. Look, we've got plenty of time at the moment to talk about hypotheticals. So I don't think any of us are diminishing what Fred's done this season. He's been fantastic, but we're taking a brave topic of conversation tonight, and we're looking 2 years in the future, 3 years in the future. United are battling for a Premier League title, or they're holding it up. What players from our current 11 are there? And for me, I'm going to be honest, after Ricky and Adam have had their say of each player, there's quite a few that I like now, but I'm going to say I don't think they're there. And to be honest, some of them I really like. I'm talking Rashford's, Martial's. So let's talk Fred. Ricky, Fred, is he...
As regards Fred, I mean, you mentioned some of the stats against him. Like, I read that stat as well, the most dribbled past player in the Premier League. Not a good stat for a midfield player at all. But But there's other stats that you haven't mentioned. I saw your show this morning, Mark, and I heard you mention that, so I've done a little bit of homework on it. I knew the figures wouldn't be good, but I didn't know how bad they'd be. In fact, I've got them written down. He's played 25 league games this season, and he hasn't scored a goal and he hasn't made a goal. Now he's a box.
Which is interesting because he's not a CDM, as many people in the live comments keep telling me.
Yeah. He's a box-to-box midfield player. Last season he played 17 league games and scored once and made one. So he's had 42 league games. He scored one goal. So there's a lot. Look, it isn't vital that any given individual scores the goals. But if you're going to have a team where the goals are spread around, because of the subjects, and Liverpool don't play with a midfield player who's a great goal scorer, but they all weigh in. I've checked this today. So far this season, Henderson's got 3, Chamberlain's got 3, Wijnaldum's got 3, Milner's got 2, and even that Naby Keita's got 1, and Fabinho's got 1. You know what I mean? So you've got to weigh in if you're not going to have somebody who's scoring loads of goals. And I don't see Fred, sharing that weight. I really don't.
No, it's interesting. I mean, just on Liverpool for a moment, I did just see something topical. Steven Gerrard likening Jordan Henderson to Paul Scholes. Well, Gerrard, if we're playing that game, I think Fellaini was a bit like you in our team. So talking absolute nonsense there. But no, I mean that's a really interesting stat to bring to the table, because I think Ander Herrera was the player that basically played the Fred role. And he did chip in with assists and goals. Yeah. Like he would whip a cross in, and he now and again would score. But yeah, I mean, look, Fred's not a CDM, and I think we know why he's not a CDM, because his first touch, as Watford said, and everyone knows, I think he gave a goal against Wolves last year. His first touch sometimes bounces off him. You can't do that from a CDM. So as a box-to-box player, if you're going to win a title, you do want a few goals and assists, not many, maybe a couple of each season.
It doesn't have to be a lot. If I can just speak up in his defence in certain games, he's been absolutely fantastic in the games where we're defending a lot and playing on the break.
Yeah.
The problem is, when we're playing your Norwich's at home, your Watford's at home, your Bournemouth home and away, he can't get on the ball. Not expecting him to create goals. It's handy if he does, but the reason that he's breaking down is, for me, his passing's not good enough. People will probably come on the chats in a minute saying he's got. They might say, he's got a pass completion of 80%. I'm not interested in what the percentages are. It's about having that little bit of nous of being able to put a fullback in behind or a winger in behind. And I don't see Fred playing those cute passes. I'd say if he's got an 80% pass completion, I'd sooner he had a 70% pass completion if 10% of them were dangerous passes and good passes that made things happen. And to me, when we're playing, like I just said, against the big teams, his work rate is vital. We've had some great wins against the big teams. Against the small teams, he's not good enough. Liverpool are winning, 27 games on the bounce? Yeah. Think about it. If Fred's in the field, quite off. I mean, some of them goals that I've just read out, and they've all got assists as well. You know, those players are just chipping in here and there, and some of those goals will be winning goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Fred
winning goals. Some of them will be goals where they've won 2-1, but he's got one of the 2 goals. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, so, I do. I get where you're coming from there, Rick. I mean, you throw Fred into that Liverpool team, he may even scrape the odd goal here and there. But for me, going down to the nitty-gritty is Fred is improving. Can his passing improve? Because I get that. It gives the ball away a lot. But a lot of people only see the tenacity side of Fred. I mean, I like him for his work rate. I like him in the bigger games, like you said, because he does get in the way and irritate a lot of good players. But it's one of them games, isn't it? You want him to be the one who relieves the pressure off one of our other midfielders, takes it upon himself to make that chance, or even take a shot, have a go at something different. Is he going to get that good to be in our team, of a team that's going to be challenging at the top? Is he going to improve in time? That's the question, which I think he's always going to be just on the fringes. That's where I think.
It's a no from, I know you said it's a no from Matic. It's a no from Adam, and it's a no from Ricky then. We're talking current first-team players. Will they be good enough to close that gap on Man City and Spurs? And I think for Fred, it's a no from Ricky, it's a no from Adam, and it's a no from me. I mean, I think he could be. I tell you what, I think he would be, and a few people said it. I think he'd be a good bench option in a title-winning side. I think he's a good player to bring on to do a certain job. But I agree with the lads. I think that there's elements to his game that aren't quite there. And also, let's not forget, he's 27. So he's not a Wan-Bissaka, he's not a Martial, he's not a Rashford. He's not got development in him, really. He's 27. In a couple of years, he's 29. So that goes against him as well. So I think Fred is a no from all of us, but all of us acknowledging right now he's a very important player. But is he a player that we can win a title with? Right, let's go back to... Let's start off then. We'll probably whiz through some of these, but let's start off with goalkeeper then. I'll go to you first, Ricky. De Gea actually topically has been talking today with Man United about the 10 years at Old Trafford, and he loves it. And basically, you know, the number one shirt's mine. I'm not really relinquishing it. There's some people in the live comments who'd say it should be Henderson's. Is De Gea still a player that he's already won a title here? Remember, is he still the number one that you can win a title with?
We're blessed with goalkeepers, and I don't think we can spend quite as much time as we did on Fred on each player, because we'd need about 4 hours. But we're blessed with goalkeepers. What I've seen of the kid who's playing at Sheffield United now on loan, what I've seen of Romero, I think all three of those goalkeepers are good enough to play in a team that could win the Premier League. All three.
Okay. So you'd be happy keeping De Gea in there. What about you, Adam?
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny De Gea should come in talking 10 years at United. He loves it and everything like that. When he knows there's nowhere else for him to go. There really isn't anywhere else for him to go right now, I don't think, because Madrid are on a downward
golden
spiral.
handcuffs, isn't it? He's on such good money as well.
Yeah, for me, he's one of them. He is a world-class goalkeeper, no matter what you say. But like Ricky said, then I totally agree with United's goalkeeping set. I mean, look at we've got Joel Pereira still out on loan, Romero, we've got Henderson there. We have got so many good goalkeepers. I mean, Henderson could easily come into this United team for me and be a championship-winning goalkeeper. The way that guy commands his box, he probably commands his box better than De Gea. Shot stopping, I still put De Gea up there as one of the best in the world for shot stopping. Some of the stuff that he does. I'm not saying Henderson isn't, but like Ricky said there, you can put any one of United's goalkeepers in a team, I would be happy. Any one of them three would do for me.
So the lads are happy to keep De Gea. I mean, I must just say, M. Shah says there's far too much criticism. That's what as United fans do now. It's ridiculous. Mate, I think this show's a very different type of show. We're talking about a team that fights for fourth and how you get it to be a team that fights for first. This team we've got at the moment, you've got to take 3, 4, maybe 5 out to go to first. That's what we're talking about. It's not moaning. I think we're all very happy with where we are at the moment because we're talking 2 or 3 years' time, and this is a gradual thing. We're not saying do it now. We're not saying sell them in the summer. We're saying what players, realistically, in our opinion, are good enough to be in a title-winning side looking at 2 or 3 years' time. And with Fred, he's 29 as well. So you've got to look at their age. In 2 or 3 years' time, will they still be at the top of their game? With De Gea, that's something I would factor in. Do I think he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world? Probably still. Can he get back to being one of the best? Yes. Will he be there in 2 or 3 years' time? I think so much depends on whether this blip of the last 18 months in relation to concentration levels is a blip or is it an age thing? And it shouldn't be an age thing for a goalkeeper who's 30 because their prime years are 30 to 35. But I don't know whether De Gea is still a title-winning goalkeeper because if you look at Alisson and you look at Ederson and you look at De Gea and you look at Schmeichel and you look at Van der Sar and you look at Cech, over a season, they will make saves that make them title-winning goalkeepers. And De Gea has got to prove that. But if it's not him, maybe it's Henderson. So I'd agree with the lads. I would stick with De Gea for now. I don't think this is going to be a quick one. We'll go to you, Adam. Wan-Bissaka, do you think he is a right-back that you can win a title with?
Best right-back in the league, mate. Simple as for me. Defensive left, there's no question about it. Yeah, you can say he's got to improve going forward a little bit. But like you said, then he's got time. He has got age. He's the right age, and he can get better and better and better. Right now, at the age he is the best defender. He's the best right-back defensively in the league, in my opinion, pushing well up there. So it's a no-brainer. Wan-Bissaka, one of the players of the season, definitely is a champ. He's going to be in the championship-winning team. He's going to be able to get us that title if he's in our team, 100%. There's no question.
He's 22. He's not 23 till November, I think, Ricky. I was just checking there. Wan-Bissaka, is that a position we need to be looking at over the next 2 or 3 years, or is that on lockdown as he is absolutely fine? Some would say going forward he's got to improve, but defensively, like Adam says, he's one of the best probably in the world, really.
Yeah, defensively he's solid. Going forward, he leaves a little bit to be desired. And if we're talking here about a team that we're trying to win the league with, it's one thing saying that we think he's the best right back in the league. Well, I can bet you bottom dollar there's not a Liverpool fan in the world who'd swap him for Trent Alexander-Arnold.
No, that's fair enough, isn't it?
Now, the difference is they're dominating games and winning those games. And a lot of those games, that he's getting an amazing amount of assists, 10 or 12 assists a season at the minute. We're talking about trying to build a team here to win the league. Shouldn't we not be thinking that the attacking style of our fullbacks might be more important than the defensive style of our fullbacks? So he has come on a treat. He put a great ball in for Anthony Marshall's header at Stamford Bridge the other week. I would go along with you that he is good enough to be in a team that wins the league, but I'm not absolutely as over the moon as everybody else is. Put it that way.
No, I do think that's fair. I think, if you look at the traditions of United when they have won leagues, your fullbacks are very important. What I would say is there was a game, it might have been Burnley in January. I think Mata and Martial, he put two on there right on the penalty spot for them, and they should have scored, and he would have got 2 assists. And I think Luke Shaw's been a bit like that over the 2 years. Yeah. Remember him doing it against Arsenal and Lukaku missing a sitter. You got people like Rant saying Luke Shaw doesn't get assists, and I've seen probably 10 times in the last 2 years where Luke Shaw should have had 10 assists and people have missed it. So, but yeah, I think that you're right. I think Wan-Bissaka has got to improve going forward because that's what a title-winning fullback does. But I would agree and say that it's not a position I wouldn't. He for me is a title-winning fullback, and I think that he will get better and better hopefully. We'll do Harry Maguire before we talk about whether we need another centre-back. You can almost... In fact, let's do Harry Maguire and who plays with him, because you might not think Harry Maguire's good, but we'll go you first, Ricky, then. The centre-back pairing, Harry Maguire and whoever, or is it Harry Maguire and a new signing, or is it 2 new signings?
I think Harry Maguire is good enough, yeah. I wasn't convinced by him at first, and I'm still not convinced for the money that we've paid for him that he's good value. A lot of money for a centre back, but he has been solid recently. He's great in the air, isn't he? He's good enough. He is good enough. Again, he's not. If you're building a team to try and win the league, in any team, you're going to have your stronger players and your weaker players. So in your team, are we talking about if he's going to be one of the best players in your team, will that team be good enough to win the league? If he was going to be one of the best players in our team, I would say our team won't be good enough to win the league. If he's maybe one of the weak links in the team, then the team will be good enough to win the league. Do you follow me meaning? So
you're not a massive fan of Maguire then, Ricky? You think he's got weaknesses?
A lot of people talk about his distribution being great. I was thinking of doing a thread on Twitter about it because virtually every game I watch, he seems to give 3 or 4 poor passes. I've seen him kick it into the stand a few times when he's aiming to the fullback and he goes over his head and into the stand. So, he's decent. Look, he's a leader. He's got strengths. He's good in the air. He's determined. He'll go through a brick wall for you. He has got strengths, but he's not Yap Stam. Put it that way.
Well, that's Saeed there. I've just put it up on the screen. He says Harry Beckenbauer. Respect him, Ricky.
Is that what you're saying? Is it? Right. Well, I'll do a Twitter feed. I'll do a thread on Twitter tomorrow about him. Then.
Well, we'll look forward to that. Start the week.
Show a few of his poorer passes.
No, you're not doing that, Ricky. I'm going to pull you on it, mate.
Okay.
Would you quickly before we go to Adam? Would you put? Who would you put? So I presume you'd want to buy somebody as well to win a title with Maguire.
I'm still absolutely adamant that the next, maybe not the next best, he might be the best. The best centre back on our books is Chris Smalling. I'm not having it any other way.
So we're winning the title with Maguire and Smalling.
Absolutely, we could. Yeah, absolutely, we could.
On that bombshell, Adam. I'll pass it.
Yeah. About 18 games. Smalling's got a title-winning medal. He's played in.
So's Phil Jones.
Rick, yeah. Maguire, obviously MVP, just announced as well.
Yeah, that's very topical, Adam. Very topical. I disagree with that. Most valuable player, Harry Maguire.
You know what? I love Harry Maguire. Would I put him down as most? No.
No, I like him as well.
Probably not this season. Although I am very very happy with Harry Maguire and how he's come on. I mean, he's played every single Premier League game this season. So the stats are going to be there for Harry Maguire and his mistakes, like Ricky said. But the guy plays every single game. He tries a pass that maybe a normal centre-back wouldn't try. A Chris Smalling would never try it because Chris Smalling's distribution is nowhere near Harry Maguire's, and Ricky wouldn't even disagree with that. Smalling, as good a defender as he is, I do like Smalling, but his distribution is very, very poor. He gets very, I'd say, nosebleedish as soon as it hits the halfway line. And we're talking about defenders that need to be on the next level to take us to win a championship. That would be like the Rio Ferdinand style player going over the halfway line, becoming an extra midfielder when we need it to be. That's the defender. For me, Harry Maguire fits in there in the mould, maybe of a dominating in the air defender like him, the Nemanja Vidic. That's my sort of Harry Maguire. He's good on the ball. Not fantastic. Yeah, he's still not brilliant. He's no Maldini or anything like that. But I'd say Maguire went into every single team above us in that league, no problem, without a shadow of a doubt.
Well,
City
Pep
would take him. Pep
Yeah.
wanted him. If you had Maguire and Van Dijk in a team, then that's game over. It's simple. You ain't getting past it. The fact that we're talking about De Gea and not having to do as much, if you look at De Gea's stats, I don't think he's anywhere near in terms of shots he's had at him this season. And that's because our defence has showed up. Yeah, you can bring in Wan-Bissaka into that Harry Maguire. They have contributed. And for me, Harry Maguire definitely stays in our team. Let's not forget, he's still not played a full season for United. I mean, he's a player, he's getting on late 20s now, but he can still, I think, with more game time. I think the big test for Maguire would be a Champions League level because he's never played it. That's the big question for Maguire for me. Smalling, in terms of it, Smalling would only be in the squad for me in terms of his partner. Who else would you bring in to partner alongside Harry Maguire? That's the question. Who is out there? People were talking about Koulibaly. And then I can't remember if it was you guys or maybe when Saeed was on, who was talking about people were saying that the Italian league is a lot slower. It's not as good a league. So you can't really bring in a Koulibaly if you're saying that he's playing so well and then not bring in Chris Smalling on the other hand. They're both playing the same league and they're both playing very well. So I think I agree with Ricky in the sense that...
He's in the team of the year there, didn't he?
Yeah, Smalling would save us a lot of money if he came back. Harry Maguire would be in my team 100%. I mean, I've seen things that guy's done, not so much in his footballing sense, but like Ricky said, the leadership qualities
big thing, isn't it? Yeah.
of Maguire is what we have sorely missed over the last, how many years. We have been crying out for a captain and one we know is going to be in, week out. His injury record, I know you can't bring that in every time and use that, but he's strong, he's consistent. Yeah, he's going to have the odd game where he throws the odd ball. I know what Ricky means, but I've seen it myself. We're at every single game. I'm like, what are you doing, Harry? And then I'm thinking, you know what? He's trying to force the issue. He's trying to make something happen where none of our other centre-backs, I don't think, have got that in their locker.
Maybe it's not there.
Sorry, mate.
There's a good quote there from Ajmal about the game against Everton where he was at, we forget that because we've been in lockdown, but that game was immense, wasn't it, from Harry Maguire?
I got pulled up. I got pulled up by everyone. I was on the player rating show at Everton and they were all laughing at me. Miles behind the camera, everyone was laughing at me when I said I give Harry Maguire a 10 out of 10 for that game. I've seen things in that game that the season before, we all know what happened the season before at Everton. We could pitch that, and we were getting battered in that second half at Everton. How many corners we conceded?
He was immense, he was.
And he was absolutely enormous in that game for us. And you know what? Look, moments like that propel us on. It's like we've stood up there and been counted. Yeah, we didn't get the result we wanted, but we didn't capitulate, which we did the season before. So someone like Harry Maguire, he was a leader that day. He stood out. And then look what we've done from that game. If we'd have been beat that game, then we'd have been downbeat. You know what? We survived it. We got through. We didn't lose any ground. It's little things like that, and the leadership qualities is why I put Harry Maguire in my team. I just rate him as a defender. I really do.
And would you bring in somebody? Do you think, all right, Maguire's the leader, he's good. Do you think to be a title-winning centre-back, he needs somebody like better than what we've got there? Is Maguire and Lindelof, Maguire and Bain, Maguire and Twansebi, is that a centre-back pairing that wins a title? Because for me, if you put Varane there, I'm very happy. But I do think I definitely need somebody with pace next to him.
There's too many questions as to what other defenders we've got in them. It's like, can Bailly consistently play every week? Is Axel going to prove to be that centre-back we all want him to be? The answer is no. The answer is no at the moment, because the proof is in the pudding. We don't know with Axel, and Bailly hasn't had a consistent season, so we don't know if Bailly can improve on what he's got, which is still not quite there. As much as I like Bailly, he hasn't got everything we need to win the title right now, consistent-wise. So it's like, who else comes in? There is a centre-back that takes us to the next level, isn't there, if we think about it?
Exactly. I mean, the captaincy thing, Jordan Henderson's going to win the league, and I think Maguire's as good a captain as he is, so I'm not bothered about him being the captain. I just think for me to put him in a title-winning side for United, and that's what we're talking about. If anyone's joined us a bit late, make sure you share the video and smash a like. We're talking about the current United 11, how many of them we think are good enough to be in a title-winning side in 2, maybe 3, 4 years' time. Remember, the time difference is important as well. It's not about now. I just think, I'm happy to keep Maguire, like I'm happy to keep Wan-Bissaka, but I think you've got to put a centre-back in there that at the moment could be Twansebi, but it could probably be somebody that we need to go and buy, and they've got to have a bit of pace about them for me. Left back then. Ricky, Luke Shaw or Brandon Williams, or do you think we need better than that? It's hard, isn't it? Because there's potential there with Williams.
But Williams has got great potential. At the minute, I'd still take Luke Shaw in front of him. I think Luke Shaw's a quality player. It's very, very, very the completely different styles of players. The two fullbacks that we've got at the minute, obviously Shaw and Wan-Bissaka. Shaw's more my type of player. Stays on his feet more, tries to get the player to go where he wants. So I'm talking here defensively, they're completely different. But they're both good at what they do defensively. Attacking wise, they've both got deficiencies. So we've got the same thing on both sides. I absolutely love Luke Shaw, but again, he doesn't really create enough opportunities going forward for, again, I hate going on about Liverpool, but they're the yardstick. They wouldn't take him in front of Robertson because of the amount of assists that he gets, the amount of, chances that he makes. But I'm going to stick my neck on Luke Shaw. I like him a lot. I'd say yes, he's good enough to play in a title winning side. I was doing it, like I said, I was doing a bit of homework today. Last season, Luke Shaw got 4 assists. It's not absolutely terrible.
Got Fans Player of the Year as well last year.
They're getting Robertson and what's his face, Trent Alexander-Arnold. They're getting like 11 assists apiece. Now Liverpool are dominating games and they are getting behind teams. They've got players who put the fullbacks in behind. Maybe if Shaw was playing for them, maybe he'd have 8 or 9 assists instead of 4. So we don't really know until we have got that team that is creating opportunities to make opportunities. So, I think Luke Shaw could do it, yeah.
Adam, left back, do you think we need one, or do you think we've got potential there to have a title-winning sort of fullback there?
Ricky missed out on something there with Luke Shaw, to be honest. It's like last season, 4 assists for Luke Shaw. He was putting the balls in for Romelu Lukaku. Robinson and Trent Alexander-Arnold are putting in the balls for Mane and Salah, clinical strikers who finished them chances. I mean, if you go back and check the stat for chances created or balls into the box, into dangerous areas, I know it's one of them crazy, stupid stats, but if you had an instinctive striker in your team who has been on form season after season like Liverpool's have, then Luke Shaw's assists are going through the roof, aren't they? Let's be honest, if Lukaku's not falling over balls in the box, then Luke Shaw's assists are going up. We chop and change our forward line so many times last season, so there was no cohesion going forward like there is at Liverpool's. Trent Alexander-Arnold gets the ball, he knows exactly where his front three are going, he knows the movement, they drill it. You can see the drills that they do in training. Same with Robertson on the other side. They know exactly which way the players are going. They're synced into each other, and it's you can't argue with it. It's a joy to watch sometimes the way they play football. It's so quick. But for me, Luke Shaw, I think this season has gone on actually another level for me, because Brandon Williams came in, and everyone knows I love Brandon Williams. He needs a little bit more time. Yeah, I agree with that, but I think Brandon Williams is one for the future. Luke Shaw stepped it up because Brandon Williams came in, and he took it on the chin. He got dropped one game, but then Ollie put him back in, and I don't think Luke Shaw has looked back. The last 2 or 3 months of this season, he has been rock solid for me. I thought he's played really well. I understand the forward issue, but you know what? He's not horrendous. There are moments when you think, why are you going backwards, Luke? Why are you going backwards? Sometimes if there's no movement in the box, you cannot put a ball in. You have to be sensible about it. So, Luke Shaw, I think I would put Luke Shaw in, I think I would agree with Ricky on that one. I think right now, yeah, you could probably buy another left back, but Luke Shaw, you could say Luke Shaw and Brandon Williams going forward are more than enough to be part of a championship winning team for me. I really do. I don't think right now, with the way Luke Shaw's playing, that we won't go too far away, to be honest. One centre back in with Maguire, Shaw and Bazaka. Look at the defensive record in Europe over the last few months. Like I said, Shaw and Brandon Williams have chopped and changed places. Look how good our defence has been. Look how many saves De Gea's having to make. Like you said, Mark, the concentration level on De Gea is different for him now. He's having to learn, instead of playing behind Jones and Smalling, he's playing behind a defence which is a lot more solid. And sometimes your concentration level is on a different level. And he's having to learn and change his game now, because our defence is getting better. Luke Shaw's part of that. Luke Shaw stays in.
We are going to do Solskjaer at the end. Somebody's saying about the coaching. That's very important. It is. We'll do Solskjaer at the end, and whether we think he's good enough to win a title with United, that'll be an interesting one. So Luke Shaw, yeah, I mean, go on, Ricky. You've got something to say?
Sorry. At the minute, we've selected 4 out of 5 players that are good enough to win the league. So can't be any more, or else we won't be where we are.
I know, we've got to be a bit careful, haven't we? Don't worry, we've got Matic next. Ninja Smurf United says that Shaw's been pocketing Morris and Salah, and I think that's the tipping point for me. Luke Shaw's only 24. He had a very bad injury. Now, age is very different for different players. Marcus Rashford's a very old, early 20s because he's been playing for a while, and Wayne Rooney was like that. But with Luke Shaw, he missed a bit of time with that injury, and then the time after where he was picking up other injuries. I think over the last 18 months, he's going up. And I do think that Brandon Williams has helped him go up as well. And we don't know what the trajectory of Williams is either. So I would be, at this point, happy to go ahead with Shaw and Williams and say, yeah, I do think we could win a title with those two. Which one it is, I don't know. And maybe long-term, we do need a left-back, and maybe we're all wrong. But I wouldn't be looking to bring in a left-back into that position. I think that there's enough there with those two. So the only one at the moment is the centre-back. And a lot of people were saying Lindelof. I mean, I don't know what you think, lads. It's the same. Eric Bailly's got an injury record. Twansebi's too much unknown. And I don't think Lindelof and Maguire work together. They might work. They both need somebody next to them who is fast, and they ain't fast enough. So that's why Lindelof, for me, it's Lindelof or Maguire. It's not Lindelof and Maguire, and I've felt that all season. And I do like Lindelof, and I think at times this season he's been better than Maguire. I think around November, December he was better, but I don't see a centre back pair in there that's going to win a title. I don't know what you lads think.
Yeah, I mean, it's right now for 4th and 5th. That's probably the centre-back partnership says it all. That's where we're at. One of them, I would go with, obviously, Maguire first, ahead of Lindelof. Lindelof is not a bad player. He really isn't. He was, when Solskjaer first came in, Lindelof was superb, absolutely superb. And then he had a little bit downward spiralling form. Like a lot of players, though, he's just not fully, like you said, he would play better with that speedier, faster defender next to him. He's a difficult one, Lindelof, because I actually like him, like you said, Mark. But I think Maguire pips him for me, definitely. And if we're going to win the league, we've said already that we need that extra centre-back in there. It would be Lindelof who'd probably drop for me. I think Maguire's got way more in his locker than Lindelof. And I like Lindelof, I really do. I don't want it to come across like I don't like the guy, because he's a good defender. He really is. And you know what? I think he won't go amiss in City's team right now. He really wouldn't.
No, they'd love him, wouldn't they? We need to start moving through a bit. Time's passing by. It's good. It's good, though. It's good conversation, which is great. Make sure you smash the like if you're watching. We're talking about, and just wary of people jumping into the show and going, what are they attacking Lindelof for? We're not talking about the game against Spurs. We're talking about a team that wins the title. That's the whole point of this show tonight. So we're talking about players that we think 2 or 3 years' time, if we are going to win a title, who's there with us, who's good enough to be there. We'll get through this one very quickly. Matic, 32 in August. I know he's having a bit of renaissance now, but he's no longer a Premier League winning CDM as far as I'm concerned. I'll let you go first on that, Ricky, because I know you might surprise me, but I can't see it.
Right, this particular given moment, if we had the team to challenge for it to win it next season, this season coming, I would say 100% is good enough. But like you say, if we're talking another 2 or 3 years hence, I'd have to say no. We'd need to replace him by then.
I knew I'd do it. I knew I'd break him. There you go. You've got it. You've got it on camera.
You can't last forever, can you? Do you know what I
mean? You're right. I think he's been very, very good. Surprisingly good, some would say. I don't mind criticising a player if they turn it around, as long as it's not Fellaini. I never would have turned my opinion on him. But
I looked at his stats as well. Matic I was comparing him to CDMs when I noticed that Fabinho's got 1 goal for Liverpool this season, and I checked him out for last season as well. He scored 1 last season. So you can win a title with a CDM not scoring any goals. A lot of people look at things like that and say, well, he doesn't score goals, or people will jump on my back and say he doesn't score any goals, he don't make any goals. But
you want your CDM to be your CDM. Yeah, you don't care, do you? They want to...
He does generally get a goal a season, and that's it. But you don't, you can win the league with a CDM who only gets the odd goal, one season. So for me, he's good enough right now, without a doubt. He's as good as anyone in the league for me as a CDM, so why not? But maybe not in 2 or 3 years' time.
Adam, I nearly called you Matic again. Are you happy that you're not good enough to win a title anymore?
Yeah, it's like you said, he's done really well this season. But if we're looking 2 years down the line, then it's probably a step too far for Matic to still be at the level he is right now, because, like you said, Ricky said, you can't go on forever, can you? As good as he has been the last few months, especially, there's likes of, like the people are saying in there, there's likes of Adidi and Partey and that sort of role who people are shouting out at the moment who, well, we don't know where they're going to be in 2 years' time. You know what I mean? If we're talking 2 years' time, the players that we're looking at right now we think could do us or improve us might not be that player. But for me, Matic probably just loses out because of his age and just getting a bit too old for that team in a few years' time, that's all.
I'd agree with that. Well, we've done Fred. We did Fred at the start. For those people who didn't watch it, we all pretty much agreed that Fred would be probably a bench player at best in a title-winning side. If you want to check that, it's at the start of the video. So we'll do... I suppose we should do... McTominay. Let's quickly do McTominay, I suppose. I know he's not necessarily a first-teamer at the moment. I think McTominay's a bit like Twan Sebi I know he's played a lot more, but I still think I don't know enough about McTominay as to whether he is a title-winning midfielder. I don't think at the moment he's good enough to start in our midfield. I think that there are better players than him. So I wouldn't rule it out with McTominay. I think he's got development and growth in him, but at the moment I wouldn't say he's a title-winning midfielder because I think it's unknown. I don't know about you lot.
Yeah, he's in a squad that wins the title. He's like a Nicky Butt, Phil Neville, isn't he? He's a very, very good player to come in. But if you're going to start a team to win the league, he probably doesn't get into it, does he? Talking next level. I mean, where he's going to be in 2 years, we don't know. But looking at it right now, McTominay is our perfect squad player for me. And I don't think he would mind playing that perfect squad player either. I really don't.
You need them in a title-winning team. Like you say, Nicky Butt gets called a squad player, but you'll still play a lot of games.
He'll still play 30 games. Yeah, he'll still play 30-plus games in the season. Yeah. It's just one of them right now. I mean, you've not even got onto the likes of Pogba and Bruno in the same sort of midfield. You've got to fit them in, and that's when it's going to get difficult. So McTominay, as good as he has been, has to probably move aside. I mean... Yeah, I'd say he's in the squad for me. I don't know what Ricky thinks about it, but I think McTominay's a good squad player to have right now. And please don't think me being harsh on Scotty, but you know what? It's serious and realistic, I think.
We're talking a couple of years down the line here, aren't we? And as much as I've said, you can't go on forever, Matic is obviously getting older. McTominay is getting stronger.
That's it, isn't it?
Hopefully getting better. I'd give him a thumbs up. I would say that in a couple of years' time, McTominay will be good enough to play in a team that could win the league.
You might be right.
Where would you play him, Rick? Yeah? Where would you play him?
Oh, we're not actually picking a team, are we? We're not actually. Do you mean?
We can't put him in goal.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, he'd be midfield. He'd be like right side of midfield. If you were playing 4-4-2, he'd be. He could fit in a 4-4-2. As we are, if we looked at our team today, I don't mind Matic as the holding player. McTominay grafting his socks off. I spoke earlier about people having to weigh in with goals. Like I said, Fred's got 1 league goal in 2 seasons. McTominay's got 4 league goals this season.
He's been injured a bit, hasn't he?
McTominay matches the Liverpool midfield players. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
In fact, if you look at the Liverpool midfield players, you're asking, is he good enough to win the league? Liverpool won't be much worse off if they had McTominay instead of James Milner. They won't be much worse off if they had McTominay instead of Wijnaldum.
He's missed them as well, hasn't he, McTominay? I remember him missing a right sitter of a header in one game.
Oh, yeah. He
might have 6 points less or something, but that wouldn't matter to him, would it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's got something with McTominay as well, though. He's a big game player as well. So them big games like City away, City at home, and he scored top bins against Arsenal at home as well. You know what I mean? When the big stars come out to play against him, it doesn't faze him. So you can put that in his favour as well. So it's like Rick said. Then in 2 years, he could. I can't see him getting worse. So it's a shout. It's a shout.
I just think for me, he's McTominay in a title-winning side in a couple of years or 3 years. It's too much of the unknown. But I'd be happy to say I think he'd be definitely part of the 15. I think he would. Whether he's in the starting lineup or not, I think he's one of those ones where, because it's a jump into the unknown, we don't know. But I'd be happy to say he'd be part of the 15-man squad to win the title, because I think he's got the right attitude, he's got the right trajectory, he's got the right age, he's got the right. He's a United lad. So yeah, I think I'd like to think he would be part of the first team, because I think he has got that growth. But I think at the moment, I'd say. Probably like Adam said, probably a bit of a Nicky Butt who plays 30-odd games for you, and in your best 11 probably doesn't play. But when do you ever play your best 11? It's hard to do sometimes.
Definitely.
Pogba then. Let's do Pogba quickly, because we should be quite quick on some of these, although I think some of them might not get in. So we've done the midfield apart from Pogba and Bruno. So let's do Pogba first. What do you think? I mean, for me, I just don't think he'll be here in 2 or 3 years. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you could if he's here, he plays for me, because he is world class on his day. He is going to win your trophies. He is going to win your games. It's just the case, like you said there, Matt. It's the only thing anyone has a problem with Pogba is his attitude. That's the word that comes up every single time with him. It's his antics off the pitch. People are more concerned about what he does off the pitch than what he does on it. And when he is on it, which we haven't seen at all this season, hardly. I mean, in his few appearances when he did come on as a sub, he was probably our best player all of a sudden on the pitch. And it just showed he has got another level above when he wants to put it in there. And like that's the killer question. We don't know if he's going to be there. If you're going off, you can definitely say he signs a contract tomorrow. Pogba fits in my team. I can't leave Pogba out of my midfield.
Ricky?
Right, well, again, I said this on one of the other questions earlier. We're not actually picking our team, are we? We're just saying, can we win a league with this player? We're looking at each player as an individual. Looking at each player.
Are they a title-winning player in a side?
This player in the team. Now, Pogba, for me, he's definitely good enough to win a league title. He's got all the ability in the world. But he's not kicked a ball all season. You don't know what his injury record's going to be. He seems to be one. I don't know how many times and how many different injuries it's been, but it's one injury after another. I'd like to see Pogba go. Like you just said, he might be gone. He might well be gone, and I'd let him go. But is he good enough to win a league? Straightforward answer: yes, he is.
Same. I think I don't know whether he will be here, and that's why I don't think I would put him in it. But if he wants to stay and sign a new contract, The lad's won a World Cup. He can win a Premier League, so it's easy for me. He would be part of it. And again, another quick one for me. I think Bruno Fernandes is, from what I've seen and what I know of him, his mentality, his ability to create goals, and you stick him in a Liverpool team or a City team. They've won titles, or Liverpool are about to win a title if we get back. He wouldn't be out of place in that team. He wouldn't be out of place in a Premier League winning team. Bruno for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep, agree.
Now we're moving to the front three then. Well, I think we all agree right mid. We haven't got a right mid, so that there isn't no Dan James, Juan Mata, Jesse Lingard, Andres Pereira. They're all a no for different reasons. So I think we can all say right midfield is a position we all know and hope will get filled in the summer. So that leaves us with two players, really, Rashford and Martial. We're going to upset a few people here unless we say yes, but we'll do Martial first. Martial, is he a Premier League winning striker in a couple of years, 2 or 3 years' time?
Ricky, you're going to start that one, mate.
If you're saying striker, what you've got to grasp here is the team's got to be strong enough. At the minute, he scored 16 goals, I think, this season in all competitions, 14 in the 12.
11 in 22 he's got in the Premier League.
11 in 22 in the league. It's not too bad. I mean, if it was...
Lack of chances in our team as well.
19 in the season, I think, again, I'm only using him as a yardstick. I'm sorry it's Liverpool. I wish it was Aston Villa or somebody that I was talking about, but it's not. It's Liverpool. And if you look at them as a yardstick, that's the type of goals that they get, around 19, 20 for the season. Salah, 22 perhaps. And you're trying to build a team here. We're not saying, can this player go and win the Premier League title on his own? We're talking about him being in a team that's capable of winning the Premier League title. And if Anthony Martial was playing for Liverpool instead of... I noticed that looking at my little bits of stats today, Bobby Firmino's got 8 league goals so far this season. You know what I mean? If Martial was playing for Liverpool, he'd have 18 league goals. I'm convinced of it. Plus, he's also equally as good at the link-up play. Equally as good. I also think he can play equally as well as Mane on the left wing. So I think Martial, hands down, is good enough to win a Premier League title. Don't forget, not on his own, the team around him's got to be good enough. And he's been playing for United for 2 or 3 seasons with poorer players pretty regularly. He's playing with Lingard behind him or Pereira behind him, and I could go on. Do you know what I mean? And he's not playing in a league-winning team. If he was in a league-winning team, he'd be perfectly at home.
Adam? Martial?
Yeah, Martial stays. There's plenty of questions you can ask about Martial. It really is. Martial, in certain positions, is a better player. Martial, in certain teams, is a better player. Like you said, any striker who's got the likes of Lingard, Pereira, all these sort of players coming in, they're the ones who are supposed to be creating and feeding our strikers. A lot of the time, our strikers are out of position because they can't get the ball. So it's how the team is set up and plays. I do agree that he would fit into, and every team above us in our league would take Martial. They do. Some people would say he is a luxury player of sorts, but I think it's going to come down to it in the end when we get to Solskjaer's bit, how he's actually played, where he's played, how he's coached. I think any top-class manager, apart from probably Didier Deschamps, would probably put Martial in his team straight out. But I think Martial, for me, I like Martial just off the front, I do really like him because I think he holds the ball up well. He can take a ball in a tight position. I think sometimes the 10 position suits Martial because he can take a ball in any position, Martial. I do like that. Rather than him on the wings when he has to have a bit more... He probably gets more criticised when he is on the wings because some fans would look at him and say he's not working hard. But when you've got a manager like Jose Mourinho who plays him at right back away to West Ham and then slaughters him in the press afterwards, then a young lad is going to struggle to gain confidence, isn't he? But Martial has got the potential to be an absolute world-class player. He really has. And he's got years on his side. Now looking like we're building a squad that suits a style of Martial. And we've seen that in the way he's played the last few weeks. And that's without Rashford, who I think he plays better with. So for me, Martial has only got room to improve, and for that, in 2 years' time, Martial could be even better than what he is now. So Martial stays in the team. I don't see why you would take Martial out. And to be honest, yeah, you could say there's players who could replace Martial, but there's no one, I think, better than what Martial is right now, to be honest, in what he does when he's on his game. I think he has got the potential to be absolutely world class. So he stays in the team. Simple as.
I've got to read this out from Jason Anthony. He says, poor analysis from you three tonight on Fred. You've pissed me off so much I'm not watching the remainder of the show. Fred adds speed to our midfield. Well, we've given our opinion, and that's what it's all about. And I'm glad that you've got a very different one. You might have liked some of the stuff we said about other players, but it's all about opinion. And we're talking about a team to win a title. And I'm sorry. There we go. But on Anthony Martial, 11 goals in 22 Premier League games. I bet he's had half the chances Aguero and Firmino and Kane has had this season. So I think you put better players around Martial, you get a better Martial as well. So for me, I'd be keeping him. I haven't got a problem with him at all. Last one then, Rashford, quickly, because we've got to get Solskjaer as well. But Rashford, left winger in a title-winning side. For me, yes. I still think there's big things for him to improve. He's got to open his eyes on headers. He's got to look up on his final ball. But for 3 months, from October to January, I thought he was one of the best left wingers in the world. And I want to see whether he can continue that when he comes back. So, yeah, I don't think there's any reason to take Rashford out at the moment for me.
No, I mean, Rashford there, you're saying one of the best left midfielders early on in the season before he got injured. He was up there in the top goal scorers in the Premier League. And people will say, yeah, what about all the penalties and all this? I said, yeah, if we didn't have penalties, we wouldn't have been celebrating the Champions League in 2008. So penalties are goals at the end of the day. We still cheer them exactly the same way. They're a goal, for God's sake. Rashford, for me, is probably our most improved player in our forward line this season until he got injured. I just think he's got so much more to his game, and he's absolutely lethal. He terrifies anyone. I've never seen anyone play so as direct as what Rashford was doing early in the season when he was at his peak before he got his injury. He was so direct, and from that left-hand side, I don't think there's anyone better right now. I really don't. And it says, I mean, you ask Gareth Southgate, it's guaranteed pick every single time. He would fit into any team in the world for me, Rashford. And the age, again, 2 years' time, Rashford playing alongside the midfield that we've got, Martial, who's improving alongside him. It's moving into and moulding into a championship winning team. You add certain players here and there, then that all moulds into one. For me, Rashford and Martial and one other, it would be a frightening prospect going forward. So Rashford stays in for me as well.
7 goals he got in 14 games that weren't penalties from the left wing. So 1 in 2 for a left winger. Pretty good. But Ricky, you're not always mad on Rashford, are you? So.
Like I've just said, I'll defend myself before I start. We've gone through the team here. I think we've named about 8 players that we've already got that we're saying are good enough to win the league, aren't we? It might be more than that.
Well, I've got 4 spots to win the title: centre back, CDM, box to box, and a right midfielder to win a title.
That's what I would agree with. What we need. That's what we need. So
we are talking about what it's going to be, what we need in a couple of years, and I disagreed with the Matic thing. I agree with the Matic thing because we're talking in 2 or 3 years' time. If we're talking this season, I would have Matic in it. Now, I think you two both agree that he's playing quite well now, but won't be good enough for a couple of years. So we'll look at the team now rather than a couple of years. There's an extra one that we're saying might be good enough. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Mm-hmm. We're talking here that we've got, between us all, we're saying that nearly all something's got to be wrong. Something's got to be wrong. We're about how many points behind, are we?
Yeah, you're right. You are right, yeah.
Something's got to be wrong. One of the things that I think is wrong is Marcus Rashford. Now, I know I've just remarked upon Martial's goals. I know people will jump on me for this. Well, I actually didn't. You brought it up. You said he's 22. Sorry, you brought up the figures. 22 games, 11 goals. It is fine. Rashford's goal scoring is fine. But it's a team game. The team has got to score more goals. Like I said, like Fred's not weighing in. Your midfield players have got to weigh in with a few. Rashford, for me, as a winger, he doesn't get in behind enough and cut balls across the 6-yard line. He is playing on the left wing, isn't he? He's not playing as a striker. He's playing as a left winger. If we had,
well, it's a front three, isn't it? It's not so much out and out winger. It's a front three like Salah does. They interchange, don't they?
It is a front three, and they do interchange. But Rashford nominally is the left winger. The way I look at wingers or strikers is if their right back gets forward, whose job is it to track him? It's Marcus Rashford's job to track him, isn't it? On the other side, if the left back gets forward, it's Daniel James's job to track him. So without a doubt, there are two wingers. You know, if one of them fullbacks gets forward and manages to score a goal or make a goal, no one's going to say, oh, where's Anthony Martial? Anthony Martial's playing centre forward. It's the wingers' jobs to track the fullbacks. So those are the two wingers. And our delivery into the box is not good enough. I know he's just had a purple patch, and long may it continue. Goals-wise, it's a purple patch. But it probably is a purple patch. He probably won't keep that rate of goal scoring up. Maybe he does. If he does, it'd be unbelievable for a winger. But to me, there's not enough good delivery into the box. Now, somebody like Leroy Sané at City, he's a proper left winger. The number of times you see him get in behind, feed balls across the 6 yards, but he's been injured all this season. Maybe that's why City have fallen away so far. Last season, he was unbelievable, Leroy Sané. I also prefer players on the wings. I like a left winger who's left-footed, me, and I like a right winger who's right-footed. And Rashford's right-footed, which brings him inside. The mere fact that he's right-footed doesn't lend himself to that situation of trying to get in behind. He's not dead confident on his left foot at putting it across the 6 yard box. So for me, I think we need a different left winger to try to win the league. No,
I don't. I think every team in the league would take Rashford right now. He's lethal. There's no one in the league. I mean, I hear your point about Sané. When you've got the players like the Silvers playing, feeding you the balls in behind, it's a lot easier. Rashford's had to do a lot on his own this season. And don't forget,
Rashford's not played with Bruno yet, has he, as well?
Rashford's goals came when we were shit. We were absolutely shit. We had no cohesion in midfield at all.
Adam, I don't agree.
No, Rashford's goals came early on in the season. Let's not forget, our best footballs come without Rashford. And Rashford bagged 19. Rashford's bagged 19 without. So Rashford deserves a chance to play alongside of Bruno. Get all this cohesion that we've got right now, a system in place. We're trying to dismiss Rashford because we think Martial is better at certain parts of the pitch. We think that there's better players like Sané. Rashford hasn't even been given a chance to play alongside Bruno on the midfield as comfortable as it is right now. So in terms of the left winger debate, I don't think there's an out-and-out left winger out there. The interchange is so much right now. And for me, the wingers are your fullbacks now. He's talking about Liverpool, Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold. They're your wingers in effect. You'll have the likes of Firmino coming inside and they're trying to score the goals. They're trying to feed the intricate passes in. It all comes down to the next question, which is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the coaching, which is key in how this all comes together for me. Rashford hasn't been given a fair shout. I understand the points, but I would keep Rashford in the team. I really would. I think there's so much more to come from him.
In the team, are we? We're asking. The question is not who are you going to keep in the team. The question is, for each given player that we've got, are they good enough? I mean, I can also spin that another way. The way Liverpool are running away with it, if Rashford was playing for Liverpool in place of Mane, let me put it this way. I said that if Martial was to take Firmino's place, they wouldn't miss him one little bit. Not one little bit. Martial would be fine. If Rashford took Sadio Mane's place, I think he'd be missed, Sadio Mane.
No, I don't. I disagree. But it's the style of play, and it's how you like a player to be. I think Rashford would bag more goals in Liverpool and City's team. I mean, I spoke to City. I had City fans on my channel the other day, and they would take Rashford in a heartbeat, and they have got some quality there. I mean, Rashford. He could be open for complete debate. I just think there's so much more to come from Rashford. It's like I said, a lot of teams would take Rashford right now. It's all about opinions, isn't it? Like you said, do you like that style of player? Do you like the way he works more than another player? Obviously, Martial has different attributes to Marcus Rashford. I think Marcus Rashford has improved more this season. I think Martial was already good, but I think Marcus Rashford has improved the most in our forward line this season. And I think he's only going to get better and better. It's my opinion. I like Rashford.
Anyway, if we include them all, I think that means we've got about 9 players that are good enough to win the title.
We got 4 spots, mate.
Yeah, I think so. I'll have the deciding vote, and I'll keep Rashford in. But I must admit, I think Ricky did raise some good points, and we're not going to be right on all of these, and we might not win a title, so we might not be able to look back on it. But I do think Rashford does need to improve his creativity. I think what the goals he gets from that position are better than most people would get. Like I said, 1 every 2, but he does need to improve. But I think we all know he needs to improve his final ball, and a lot of that's coaching. We've overrun, so we're not going to go in on Ollie too much. I'm literally going to give you all 30 seconds. We're all going to have 30 seconds on this and the live comments as well. But in conclusion, to win a title, we feel that in 2-3 years' time, United need a centre-back to play with Maguire, a proper CDM, a proper box-to-box, and a proper right midfield, which, to be honest, I think we might have been there at the start of the show. But there you go.
Exactly.
So, but I think it's been a great show. People say that, but we've been through why that today. 30 seconds on this because we could take hours. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, 3 years' time, is he the manager of a Premier League winning side? 30 seconds, Adam, go.
It's too unknown. It really is. Ole Solskjaer could turn into a great manager in 3 years' time, but right now, I just don't know. And I've said it before, I think Ole's the right man to take us into maybe a consistent 4th position in the league, but I just don't think he's got the capabilities right now for what I've seen to win a championship.
Ricky? Go.
I think I have to agree with Adam on that one. Yeah, he's hit the nail on the head.
Oh, he did it in less than... I would say the same. I would say if you'd asked me in January, definitely not. I wanted him gone after Burnley. I thought he was out of his depth. I've seen a bit of improvement now. I want to see what happens when we come back. And I think, I'd agree with the lads on that. If I had to say now, no. What's our style of play? We're a counter-attacking team. We're Manchester United. He's got loads to improve, but he's going to have the time. He will be given the opportunity. Well, I think we'll all agree he'll be given the opportunity to win it. Whether he will do it or not, let's wait and see. Let's hope he can. But look, that's been I've never known a show go so bloody quick because we've overrun and we don't normally do that. So just shows what a great show it's been. I hope you've all enjoyed it in the live comments. Please smash a like on the video. Obviously, we do this starter show every Sunday night, and that's been the fantastic one, and we're really enjoying the Sunday night. So thanks to the lads for coming on. Adam, give us a shout out of your social.
YouTube is Mad Red United. Instagram ads UTD. Catch me on any of them too.
And Ricky?
Just Rick the Red UK on Twitter.
And he's going to do he does his threads, tactical analysis. He's going to do, who are you doing tomorrow, Fred or Harry Maguire?
We had a couple that we spoke about. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll find an older game. I'll look at Chris Smalling's passing.
I look forward to this on a Monday.
Yeah, Ricky with time on his hands is a very dangerous man.
Well, thanks everyone for watching. I've really enjoyed it, and we'll see you tomorrow morning with the Man United news show. And have a good start to your weekend and a good end to your weekend as well. There's lots of stuff on Netflix, Last Kingdom, Afterlife, loads on at the moment. So have a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.